Shalom. First, let's start off by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakdash. Double honor said, teachers, elders, and apostles of great millstone. Likewise, brothers, for know this truth. Faithfully, fearlessly, feeding the sheep and new brothers and sisters. Doing again, Shalom. Today's lesson's titled, And a Man's Foes. Let's take a look at the word foe in the ordinary dictionary, and it means an enemy or opponent. Similar, enemy, adversary, opponent, rival, nemesis, antagonist, combatant, challenger, competitor, the opposition. Okay, so we can see, okay, in these days, okay, a man's foes is going to be anyone that is going opposite of what that man is all about. Okay, and in the case for us, okay, it would be anyone that goes against the truth. Now let's take a look at this, from the point of view of America. Now I have this ad clip there. Congressional Democrats raise alarm over Trump's comments on Iran. And remember, today is the day Trump said would be when he would obliterate Iran. Okay, and that was the latest news. Of course, we know that that's not going to happen. Okay, but he's given a deadline to see if they are going to, bow down to, the demands of Great Babylon America. Now, you read this article, you can see the Democrats, they're against it. Even some Republicans, they don't want to speak out loud about it, but they're against it because everyone knows what's at stake. But isn't this nation supposed to be one nation? In fact, when you take a look at the Pledge of Allegiance, next to it, it says, one nation under God. One nation. Okay? That means it's united. But clearly, there's a division. Let's start off with our first scripture. This is the book of Matthew 10, starting verse 34. It reads, Think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes should be they of his own household. Okay? Now, is it necessary a house, okay, where everybody lives in? No, it could be, your extended family. It could be friends. Okay? We always like to use the term inner circle. But these are the same people that are close to you that are going to turn against you in a time of trouble in these days. In fact, let's go into Matthew 24 and verse 12. It reads, And because iniquity should abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Let's take a look at some example of when iniquity, okay, which is wickedness, run rampant in a place like America. Take a look at these video clips.
30-year-old Jenna Strubble appeared without an attorney in court this morning and asked to reappear tomorrow when her lawyer could be present. She is charged with 9 counts of first-degree murder. Police say she shot and killed the father of her 2 young children, 32-year-old Jacob Lambert, along with his parents, Patrick and Stacy Ford. Court documents we obtained say after her arrest, Strubble told Will County Sheriff's deputies her and Lambert were co-parenting and maintaining an occasional intimate relationship. She also told deputies that on March 22nd, she asked Lambert if he wanted to hang out and go for a drive. After realizing Plum Creek Nature Preserve was closed, she pulled over on Burnham Road in Sauk Village and told Lambert she had a surprise for him and that she was going to give him a back massage with a massage gun. While laying on his stomach in the reclined passenger seat, Strubble told deputies she climbed on his back in a straddling position and massaged him for approximately 20 minutes before grabbing a Glock 19 fit with a suppressor she'd hidden under the seat. Court documents say she was holding it pointed to the back of his head for about 8 minutes while massaging him and eventually shot him in the back of the head. Strubble then allegedly drove the car to his parents' home and told deputies that as soon as his dad opened the door, she began shooting, hitting Patrick and Stacy Ford multiple times. Court documents say she didn't provide much of a motive for the killings other than not liking the way Jake speaks to the children or that she feels his parents are overbearing. She told deputies she purchased the gun in December from this store in Crown Point and that she purchased it solely for this plan.
Well, another hearing for Keisha Golden as she tries to get murder charges filed against her dropped. She says as a result of the self-defense killing of her boyfriend. Now, so far, the state has refused to drop those charges, instead offering her an opportunity to plead to a lesser charge of second-degree murder with 2 years probation. She has rejected that opportunity. Now, Keisha Golden arrived for her latest court hearing this morning. Golden says she killed her abusive boyfriend to save herself and their then unborn child. The Chicago woman fatally stabbed Calvin Sidney back in 2022 when he allegedly attacked her after their baby shower. Golden was charged with 2 counts of murder. Her lawyers in the public defender's office argue Golden was acting in self-defense against a man with a history of abuse.
It's a scary message to send the women of Cook County that if you defend yourself in an abusive relationship, that you could face first-degree murder charges.
2022, police responded to 5 domestic violence incidents involving that couple. In July of 2022, they say that Golden, who has the support of over a dozen community and advocacy groups, did have an order of protection against Sidney. Now, Golden does remain out on bond, and just as we have information that her daughter now is 3 years old. Of course, that hearing is ongoing.
Police say a Tinley Park man admitted he killed his wife and 3 daughters and even told them why. Meanwhile, friends are remembering the 4 women shot and killed Sunday in the southwest suburb. CBS 2's Andrew Ramos is outside court in Bridgeview, where the accused gunman faced a judge this afternoon. Andrew?
And Joe, that man, Mahar Kessam, is being held tonight without bail, accused of murdering his wife and 3 adult daughters in cold blood. The result of what prosecutors say was a heated argument over respect and money.
The defendant stated, quote, "They're all gone."
They're the chilling words 63-year-old Mahar Kessam told responding officers who arrived at his family's Tinley Park home Sunday morning after he called 911, telling a dispatcher that his wife, 53-year-old Mahida Kessam, had been shot.
When police asked where everyone was at, the defendant pointed in the direction of the basement.
Police would find the bodies of his wife Mahida, his 25-year-old twin daughters Halima and Zahia, and 24-year-old daughter Hanan. Also inside the home at the time of the shooting was their 19-year-old son, the lone witness, who was left unharmed. According to prosecutors, the teen woke up to a heated argument happening between Mahar and one of his daughters, where his wife and other 2 daughters were urging him to calm down, and then gunshots rang out.
When witness 1 went downstairs to see what was going on, he observed victim 1 on the floor.
The 19-year-old first found his mother, then 2 of his sisters fatally shot, and then walked in moments before his father shot the 3rd daughter. 2 guns were recovered at the scene. According to prosecutors, Kessam appeared to be disgruntled over how he was treated inside the home.
The defendant was recorded volunteering things about having just retired, and that, quote, "She treats me like a dog. I worked 40 years," unquote. And, quote, "I worked all my life to give my family a better home, and they treat me like."
Meanwhile, the community continues to comfort this family who has lost so much. Hundreds gathered at the Mosque Foundation in Bridgeview for a prayer in honor of the 4 women killed in what police have called a senseless act of domestic violence, something they hope is addressed more within the community.
And it's about not only mental illness, but control and abuse.
Now, funeral services for those women expected to take place later this evening, and Mahar Kessam is due back in court on February 16th. Reporting live outside Bond Court in Bridgeview, I'm Andrew Ramos, CBS 2 News. Joe and Erica.
Thank you, Andrew.
An Indianapolis father is now in jail accused of neglecting and murdering his own 5-year-old daughter. And now we're learning the father at the center of this case had a history of abuse.
Fox 59's Jesse Wells shares the message this young girl's family is sending to the justice system after the girl's father violated several no-contact orders.
Police were called to this home behind me just before noon on Monday and found the 5-year-old victim dead inside. The victim's family tells me that death was avoidable because the suspect had a history of abusing those around him, including his own daughter, for the last few years. 5-year-old Zara Arnold is remembered by her family as a smart young girl who had her life cut short, allegedly by her own father.
I'm mad. I'm very disappointed.
because my granddaughter should be here.
IMPD claims when they were called to this home on LaSalle, the girl's father initially claimed she died from falling down the stairs, but 41-year-old Zachary Arnold eventually confessed to repeatedly choking his daughter before finding her unconscious.
Every child should feel safe in their home, right? And in this case, in a home, that child wasn't safe.
Court records show a history of allegations against Arnold for child abuse, harassment, and violating no-contact orders dating back several years to when his daughter was less than a year old and continuing until as recently as last week.
The system then failed us. The system then failed us.
A majority of the complaints by Otanya's family did not result in charges by the prosecutor's office, but just last week, Arnold went to court and was placed on probation for allegedly violating a protective order against a different victim. Despite that legal history, Arnold retained custody of his daughter.
She shouldn't have never been with him from the get-go. They shouldn't have never gave him custody. This has been an ongoing thing since she's been born.
For their part, IMPD insists they intend to give Zara a voice in court because she can no longer speak for herself.
We're that voice, and we're going to ensure that we do our part and work with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office and bring justice for that child.
Finally, the suspect is now being held without bond at the Marion County Jail pending the filing of formal charges. Jesse Wells, Fox 59 News.
We also have the...
And you saw in those video clips, okay? Basically, you saw husbands being put to death by their wives. You see boyfriend getting put to death by their girlfriends. Okay, you see fathers turning against their kids and killing and murdering their children. So you can see here, okay, when you live under the rulership of the wicked, iniquity is going to run amok, basically get out of control. Okay, and people want to hide from that. You know, they want to basically put their head in the dirt or in the sand. You know, they surround themselves with people who are only going to speak happy talks. You know, they try to keep the party going on. You know, try to you know, put this image out there like, you know, they're the life of the party and that, you know, nothing bothers them. But it will real soon. Okay, and we are the ones that are bringing out the news that nobody wants to hear. In fact, let's go to 2 Ezra 15. So verse 20 reads, "Behold, speak thou in the ear of my people the words of prophecy which I put in thy mouth, said the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." So everything that's written in this Bible is going to come to pass. We've seen it come to pass right now. Okay, nations rising up against nations. Okay, you see a great division or great divide here in Great Babylon, America. Okay, you have the terrible or the fierce king that's in rulership right now that doesn't give two craps about his own people, which is Donald J. Trump. Okay, you see the so-called white man who the Bible describes as the red man, or the rider of the rider on the red horse, going out and taking peace from the earth. So it's all coming to pass. Continue says, "Fear not them imagination against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee." Mockery, you know, yeah, y'all always saying that. Y'all always reading the same scriptures over and over and over. Blah, 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 blah. You know, I'm still alive. I still have a job. I still have a roof over my head. I ain't starving to death. I'm not dead, you know. "For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." Let me read that to you again. "Behold, said the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." Okay, so nothing good. Okay, there are people starving right now. You think things are going well out there in the so-called Middle East right now with bombs flying around, people dying, and there's a lot of destruction, infrastructures that took years to build, just gone in rubble. But see, that's hard for any Babylonian or so-called Americans to fathom that, because most of you walking around are incredibly obese. You live in neighborhoods where you don't hear gunfire and shots. You don't see dead bodies all over the place. You know, and everything is still intact. You don't see, I think the greatest destruction you people might have seen ever was in 2001 when those World Trade Center buildings collapsed, which we know that was an inside job. But this lesson isn't about that. So you don't have any fear because you've never seen anything like it. But you're gonna. It says, "For wickedness had exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and the hurtful works are fulfilled." Let's go to Isaiah 33 and 6. Now, that's the Lord saying that he's not coming with peace. He's not bringing peace. He's bringing division, which means if you have division in a household and you have a division in a nation, okay, which, you know, the subcomponents of that nation would be your cities, your towns, whatever, okay, you're going to have, okay, a lot of hatred and animosity, which means what? There's going to be death, destruction, eventually a war, conflict, okay? Clearly there's a, you know, you have, as far as we know right now, this is the only inhabitable planet in the universe. We don't know of any other, all right? So why is it that not everybody on Earth is getting along? I mean, we should get along and try to preserve what we have, right? I mean, is there any other place that we can go live? We don't have the technology or the ability to get to any other place to say, okay, if Earth is destroyed or we destroy this place, or, you know, we can go someplace else. No, there's no other options. It's right here. So why isn't everybody getting along? Okay, because there's a division. Who's bringing that division? The Hamashiach is bringing that division on this earth. Okay, because in reality, okay, although the elite said that they would bring an answer, and their answer is going to be that MOTB, or the mark of the beast, okay, you know, order of the chaos, the real order is going to be when the Mashiach returns. Okay, so before that, there is going to be chaos. So there's going to be a new world order, but it's going to be under the Hamashiach, who we're actually called Jesus Christ. Continuing, it says, and wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord, Yahweh Shemashah, is his treasure. Why is it going to be the stability of the times? The only people who believe in what's taking place or what's happening is all scriptural, or being, you know, brought upon this earth through divine purposes, okay, or the purposes of the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, are the elect men that are preaching. Everybody else, it sounds like nonsense to them. They don't want to hear it, okay? So basically, they're going to go and react the way the world tells you how to react, okay? Get out there and get yours. We are going to walk with wisdom, and those that listen to us, okay, will live, and we will live too, okay? Because it's that wisdom that the Lord Yahweh Shemashah has imparted on certain men. The number is very small, okay, of the men that have the ability, or who have gotten, okay, that divine blessing, okay, to make it throughout all this problem that the Lord Yahweh Shemashah is going to bring on the earth. It's not the so-called white man. He's being controlled, okay, or he's doing the will of the Lord Yahweh Shemashah. Let's close out with Mark 13. And so verse 19 says, for in those days shall be affliction, such as was not from the beginning of the creation, which power created unto this time, neither shall be. Let me read that to you again, because you need to see how powerful that is. It says, for in those days, these days that are coming, shall be affliction, such as was not from the beginning of the creation, which power created unto this time, neither shall be. If you believe in the creation, which we know a lot of people, they believe in evolution, okay? But if you believe in the creation, and we don't know exactly how old the earth is like that, but if you go from the 6-day creation, okay, up to this point right now, it's somewhere around 13, 14,000 years old, okay? When you look at that, if you go back from Genesis all the way right to now, where we're living in the days of Revelation, okay, you're talking about 6,000 years span right there, okay? So in all the wars, I mean, all the captivities we've gone through, all the wars, all the plagues, the bubonic plague, the black, all those things, it's not going to be, nothing is comparable to what we're about to go through. That is what this is saying right here. That the Lord is the final judgment of the wicked, and the cleansing of this earth of wickedness is going to be of such a magnitude that has never ever been done on this earth since Yahweh Shemashah gave the order to his son, okay, and the heavenly host to create the universe. You got to think about that for a minute here. It says, and except that the Lord has shortened those days, no flesh should be saved. But for the elect's sake, whom he had chosen, he has shortened the days. So for the sake of the elect who are tired of wickedness, who are tired of the faggotry, sodomy, okay, being unheard, ignored, mocked, okay, persecuted, the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, okay, he shortened it for their sake, okay, or for our sake as a hopefully elect. And you look at the key word that says, no flesh should be saved. That means there's going to be so much violence and destruction on this earth that for the sake of the elect, the Lord stopped it. or else nobody, nothing would be left. We're talking biological warfare, nuclear warfare, disease and germs on a scale you can't even begin to, even comprehend, okay? Animals going crazy, mutated stuff, people going like zombie. I mean, I don't even want to live it, all right? This is how horrible of a time we're about to go through. Never written and never will be seen again. But for the elect, people are actually going to live. And by the way, we need slaves in the kingdom anyway, so you see how this works? All will elect was edified, of course, we're giving all going on to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash, Shalom.